Hi everyone, welcome to Mark Wilkinson Straight Talking, a series of interviews with influential people around the globe. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Pashmina from Hasmark Publishing to me or with me here today. How are you, Pashmina?
I'm great, Mark. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. Thank you.
It's absolutely great to have you here. Just for everyone's sake and just for mine as well, whereabouts in the world are you right now?
I'm in Bangkok, Thailand right now.
And the current temperature is?
It's about 30 degrees Celsius.
It's about 30
here.
degrees, yeah. And that's average, isn't it? 30 degrees pretty much all year round in Thailand. Okay, so yeah, all of us right now are we're cold here. Look, I'm wearing about 3 layers. Anyway, but you're in Thailand. And of course, a beautiful place to live. And I want to know more about your history and more about you as we go forward. But obviously, we're here to talk about your life remix and obviously tying in with the book and everything else. How you've lived your life and the things you've achieved. But let's start with some music because you know a bit about me and my background. Obviously, you are my publisher and part of this whole journey now of Life Remix, which we're absolutely loving you being a part of and us being on it together. But start with some music. Have you got a favourite tune or a favourite artist, and why? How does it make you feel? Was it remind you of?
I like I said, I don't like to actually choose because I feel like I might be having an affair with another singer. It's the same thing with authors. I don't have a favorite. But if you're asking me, maybe what is my favorite genre? I love soul music. I love Sade. I love the 80s and the 90s. And in most of my interviews, I always talk about Shaka Khan and I talk about I'm Every Woman. So I love that song. So that would be my song of choice.
That's an absolute beauty. Yeah, absolutely. I'm an 80s and 90s soul boy.
I know.
It just moved into house music and uplifted me into the 90s to become a DJ, But that 80s and 90s sounds and Chaka Khan, what a voice. She's done some incredible songs. And I mean, even back in the early days when we were having I say the early days when I was 18 and we had acid house raves. They'd play Chaka Khan, I'm Every Woman, and people would just be partying because it was so uplifting. You'd have all the sort of deeper, darker music, and then all of a sudden Chaka Khan's voice just comes out of the speakers, and you're like, wow, it was brilliant. So that is a great choice, and you are a soul queen, obviously. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So let's just tell everyone a little bit about you. Obviously, you're a best-selling author. Give us a bit of a rundown.
I'm actually the marketing director of Hasmark Publishing, and that's how I met you, through Judy O'Byrne. So it's really wonderful. And I am an international best-selling author of 3 books, actually. I wrote a trilogy called the Cappuccino Chronicles, which I'm hoping to get into a film kind of medium. And I wrote a children's book called What is a Goopsie, about my pug and about my family. So it's a little bit of legacy and family and something fun, with another organization called Hearts to be Heard, which is a charitable part of my life where we give back to the community.
Awesome. And I mean, you're an international woman, aren't you? Let's be honest. You're living in Thailand. You're very well connected, and obviously flown to Canada and the States to be connected with Hasmark Publishing and Judy, and obviously her sister Peggy McCall. You move around the world, Hong Kong. I mean, everywhere. I mean, tell us a bit about that international kind of flavor.
I love it. I'm a very social person. I love people, and my book is about people. I love the fiction side of my book and how I've recreated different styles of people from meeting people from an international background. I mean, I lived in London when you were at the height of your career. I've waited outside Ministry of Sound praying to get in. You were probably in there just spinning your decks, and I was out there, a little college student, begging to get in. So, I've had so many life experiences, good and bad, that have helped me to understand how it is to be with people from different nationalities and be with different people, who are from different countries. And it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed to have that opportunity.
Well, first of all, if I'd have known you then, I would have got you on the guest list and got you.
Thank you. I wish I knew you then too.
My heart would have been in the right place, I promise you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, I found a way. I'm a huge socializer. I learned that about myself in the last 10 years, actually, by doing personal diversity indicators and finding out more about me as an individual and my preferences and what I like to do. I use a tool called Equilibria for that, which is really interesting. I just love people hugely. Like, I'm just a massive people person, and I actually found that out about myself, and then looked back at my life and went, "Oh, right." That's what that means. That's why I was involved in music and DJ'd at the height of this, you know, this whole party lifestyle and everything we did. And I'm blessed, like you, that I've travelled to 65 countries around the globe.
Yeah.
And one of the things it gives you is it gives you an international feel. It gives you an international kind of like understanding of humanity, and the way that we all want the same things. You know, we all want food, clothing and shelter. We all want to be loved, and we want to give love as well. You know, I know it sounds like a hippie, right? But the point is that that's true. It's so true. Every single human being wants the same things. You know, and we go about it in different ways, of course, but we want to look after our families. We want to look after ourselves, you know, and it's an important journey, I think, to see that. And you know, I've been to Russia, I've been America, I've been Hong Kong, I've been Australia.
Wow.
I've basically been everywhere. But generally, what's interesting about that is I've landed, been driven to a nightclub, played a few hours, gone back to the hotel, had some sleep, and then got on a plane to fly back out.
Wow.
So although I've seen it, you know, there's a whole journey, I'm sure, to go back and really see it. But no, that's cool. I love the international flavour of what we're doing now, and the way that Zoom can connect us, you know, like never before. You know, it's fantastic. I mean, we're having regular Zoom calls every couple of weeks, and we've got you on the line from Asia, we've got us in London, and we've got the Canadian Hasmark Publishing with Dave and Jenna and Judy and the rest of the team. So it's amazing, that connection across the world. It's fantastic. So we're all working together as one big, beautiful team. So that's great.
Yes, I love it.
So to tell all the guys that are tuning in a little bit more about you, tell us something that most people don't know about you.
I don't have blonde hair. I'm joking. Something that people don't know about me. I'm not sure if maybe people know this about me, that my ultimate dream is to build a state-of-the-art theater in Asia.
Wow.
I do say that in every single one of my sales pages of my book, but no one's ever asked me about that on any interview, Mark. So here's your chance.
World exclusive, right? Okay.
Yes, world exclusive. Yeah, that's something that I want to do in my life.
So the power of goal setting, because we both coach people, so we both understand the power of goal setting, but sometimes it can be a question of you can lose track of your own goals sometimes if you're not careful. So we're going to do this right here, right now. Okay. Whereabouts is that theatre going to be?
Somewhere in Asia. I mean, maybe Hong Kong.
I need specifics.
Hong Kong, because there's a theatre lane there.
Great. Okay. So it's going to be in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
How many people are going to be able to attend?
I want 120 proscenium style. I know exactly what it looks like, Mark. It's a proscenium style, 120 seats with plush red cushion, like a cinema style.
Yep.
And the depth of the proscenium theater is as much as the one that's on Broadway at the Gershwin Theater. That's exactly how it looks.
Okay, beautiful.
Without all the gargoyles hanging out, the Gershwin Theater. No gargoyles, gargoyles on the inside.
So it's going to have beautiful interior design by yourself, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
I'd love for you to open the stage with your Swarovski DJ headset on for the opening premiere.
My Swarovski headphones are they're on order.
All right.
They're on order. But that is really, really important. What we just did there, what you just did there, to be honest. You know, that if anyone wants to understand a bit of a coaching session in like about a minute, that was it. Because you know, ultimately, your visualization of what you would like to achieve, you can picture it. I'm sure you went there in your mind when we had that conversation, that question. I do this with quite a few people. When people are struggling with their purpose and their vision and their goals, and I get quite a lot of questions about that on my platforms across the social medias and the websites. How do I find my purpose? What do I do? You know, lots of people really kind of get struggling with their goals and their vision and their purpose. So I tend to push them now a little bit towards, okay, so write down the perfect day and write down the perfect year. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Can you envision it? Give me more information. So I did this myself. I actually learned the power of goal setting when I ran the London Marathon. As you know, part of the story of the book was unable to walk. And then I ran 4 marathons, you know, that's the unable to walk, incurable disease, and then running 4 marathons. And that was part of that story. And I visualized myself when I understood the power of this kind of process. I visualized myself crossing the London Marathon finish line. That was before I ran anywhere. 4 months later, I did it. And that was a really great feeling, especially when I'd been suicidal and unable to walk. So just getting myself there was like, right, now I know the power of visualization. I can do anything. And the life I live today is because of what I visualized 10, 12 years ago. And so the perfect year, I may have mentioned this to you before, but the perfect year for Emma and I is winters in Thailand. So see you soon. Winters in Thailand for maybe 2-3 months, and then obviously London's our home, and we love London, so that's where we would be. But the reason I took you there was because that power, that feeling, is really important. And then if you tie that to, that's your goal, but if you tie that to your purpose and your vision, where would that take you? Because I know where it would take me, but where would it take you?
The seed of that is because I'm a teacher as Judy says, in my last life. So the purpose of that is to actually help with the arts and creation, because I really do believe children are our future. I've been a teacher for about 20 years. I mean, I still have a license. I can still go around and teach. I can come to London and teach, but not in the winter. No, thanks. But no, it's just something that's in me. And I just feel that watching my life, in the beginning parts of my life, watching children actually create and do things and express it, you think, why do we all lose that? Why do we lose that inner child? Because that's what gives us freedom. It's that mechanism that allows us to dream and to build and to create those goals with a really carefree attitude. That doesn't mean to say that you just sit there and meditate and think, oh, it's all going to fall on my lap. No, it does take work. It's a vision. It's a goal. I mean, to build a theater in Hong Kong would cost millions of dollars. So how would I do that? Investors or
I've got an answer for you.
Sponsors.
I've got an answer for you. There's a great story. There's a great story in Think and Grow Rich where they're talking to a guy, exactly the same conversation you just started there. They're talking to a guy and they said, well, that's going to cost £1 million. How are you going to do that? Or $1 million? How are you going to do that? What they say is, where's the money going to come from? And he says, from wherever it is right now.
That's beautiful.
You can achieve anything you want, as long as you've got, and I'll take you back to how this fits in with basically with my purpose anyway, because yes, I've definitely got that sort of like teaching kind of like, gene in me that wants to help other people and uplift other people. And someone said to me the other day about they live for the light bulb moments, when they see the light bulb moments like happen for somebody, and it's like, whoa, and even after he's teaching adults, but when you get an adult that goes, whoa, hang on, I hadn't thought about it like that, or that's a different way of doing it, that's really, that's a buzz for him. And I think that's where you would come from the same. Yeah. But the reason I ask about purpose, because I would tie in, this is how I got to my purpose, and I think yours is quite similar. That theatre, or for me, that nightclub, is a place of joy. Yeah. It's a place of joy and entertainment and education, of course, but it's a place of, and so I kind of took it back. I don't want to say even further, but I took it back and I was kind of like, okay, so why am I doing this DJ? Why am I doing this book? Why am I doing anything I'm doing? Why are you doing that theatre? Well, you're doing it because it's a place that it can bring joy and education and information to other people. And when you realize that that's your purpose and your goal, and you know that's sitting there, and you know it's going to happen, you're going to work for it, and you're going to find investors, and you're going to crowdfund it, and you're going to do all this kind of stuff, you're going to pull it, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because every other thought you've ever had in your life has happened.
Yeah, good or bad, right?
Well, yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute, I'm sure. But the point is that once you've got that purpose in your life, then you know that everything you do from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep is aligned with that.
Yeah.
And that's massively powerful, because then you don't waste a second on this planet. I've got people doing jobs that they don't like, they're like, why am I doing this? Well, you're doing it for a few quid. Yeah. Okay. For a few pounds, but it's not what you like. It's not what you enjoy. Right. It's not what your purpose is. It's not why you were here to, you're born for more than just to work and pay bills. There's more to it than that, and I think if you, for you, I'm sure you're tuned into that purpose anyway, but I just thought I'd share that with people because it's so important to like align your purpose and have that goal there. And I can't wait to sit in that theater. That'd be amazing.
I can't wait for you to help me open. I also know that, do you know Idina Menzel? The one who sings.
I know the name.
Yep. She's in my head opening the, with Defying Gravity. So you can go either before or after her. I have the whole rundown. So you're part of my opening number too.
But this is so important because that visualization and that reality it will happen. It's just as simple as that. I've done that with the London Marathon. I've done that with financial freedom. I've done that with this book. This book, I dreamt of this book 10 to 12 years ago.
Wow.
And I've been working on it ever since, and I've been working towards it ever since. And here we are right here, right now. And it's going to come out next year in February, as it says up there. Anyway, whatever. So, so a story from when we first met. Well, of course, we haven't actually physically met, but I'm sure we will. So I'm looking forward to that. And, fingers crossed, Emma and I are due in Thailand at some point in the winter, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure we'll get there at this stage, but we might have to delay it a little bit. But that will be good. As far as 2020 goes for this year, my question is: have you taken any positives from it? I know you've taken some positives from it somehow, but it's been a challenge, hasn't it, for all of us?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie and say it hasn't been, because like you were social. I was supposed to be in 5 or 6 countries this year to promote my book, to help promote Hasmark, to, get into more airports, to just really be that author that I've always wanted to be, go visit places like, California and go back and see like maybe some Hollywood people. There was so much on the table for 2020. Yeah. So, and I'm a planner. I like to look at my life like you do, day by day, week by week, month by month, and year by year, so that I know what I'm up for the next 5 years, but also like little daily exercises that keep me, kicking and alive and not thinking only of the end goal, but thinking of the small little things as well. So 2020 was like kind of like an avalanche for me, to put it mildly. Some people who do work from home, who are working moms, but are at home all the time, maybe it wasn't as difficult for them. But for someone like me, it was quite a shock that I was now grounded by the universe, literally.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm, like I said, a huge socializer as well. And I think I mentioned to you before we started the interview, last night for the first time, I was really kind of like, and this, I really don't like this. Because for most of 2020, in all honesty, because I have quite a few construction clients and other work that's going on, businesses and other things that are going on outside of the book and music and everything else. I haven't been locked down once. I haven't been stuck in my house once. I've been out pretty much every single day, because construction was never told, it's only if you can work from home that you should work from home. And here in England anyway. And the last thing that's, has happened now is the fact that most of my clients now have continued work, and I've got other people out there working, which has meant that I'm now mostly in the house. And I must admit, I've kind of, last night I was a bit like, I really don't like this, and we've got another month, or another two or 3 weeks of this to go. So it's very, very interesting that people, it must have affected people when in the previous this year, when it was 2 to 3 months, I'm just getting a tiny little taste of it. It must have affected many people really, really heavily.
That's the thing, like it made me also reassess about self-care and being more with my family. I have a 17-year-old and a 12-year-old, and don't ask me where the time went. It just went. And this year, it's kind of like we were able to, every single one of us were able to slow down just a little bit, like slow it down at a pace where we're actually not rushing to get on a plane or rushing to do our homework or rushing to a class or rushing to yoga, or rushing to here or there. It's just like, it was suddenly like a stop, which I think has been quite healthy in a family dynamic for me.
I mean, the word crisis actually also means opportunity in Chinese. And this is a crisis, but the positives are, for many people, are a chance to sort of breathe, reassess, where am I going? Am I happy with my direction? There's lots of people that are taking the chance to retrain in something new. Lots of people are learning new skills.
Writing a book.
It's
been an explosive year in the publishing and marketing side for books, and really exploring digital marketing. Because I opened up my own company called the Online Authors Office in 2017. And I'm so grateful for Hasmark for collaborating with me. Otherwise, I would have never met such wonderful people like you. But when I did that in 2017, people were like, you're a bit crazy. What does it mean to have an online author's office? I was like, to be able to work from anywhere and be able to contact me at any time. They're like, well, what if we need to meet you in person? And Mark, I was flying down to Hong Kong to actually see my clients face to face, like how we do. How often did we use Zoom? Probably never, So now that it's like this, in the title of my company that I founded, Online Authors Office, people are like, oh, now I get it. I'm like,
That's a great idea.
Yeah, good for you. You were ahead of your times. And I'm thinking, no, I just wanted to live on the beach and help you. That's what I wanted to do.
That's a great thing. I must admit, I work, as you know, I work as a coach with Kevin Green in business coaching. And we've been doing Zoom worldwide coaching for probably 2-3 years. When I was coached by an Australian guy. It was absolutely fabulous. And so we've been using Zoom for a long, long time, and all of a sudden, the shares in Zoom went through the roof. I think in March, when people started to understand it. But we've been using it for a long time, and it is a great tool. And for us to be able to connect like this in 7-hour different time zones, but still be able to have this kind of conversation, and ultimately, we're both driven by people, and we're both driven by a mission to help other people, as you say.
And I think as an author as well, what you are doing is making the human connection digitally, which is awesome, because when you actually do make the human connection, it doesn't have to start from all the way from the beginning. You have a relationship with the person that you've actually met. So it's kind of nice, actually, what kind of the shift that we're going through as well. Understanding a different market too.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got our own personal goals, as I shared some of that. I mean, I live the perfect day already now. I designed that 3 years ago. It took me 12 months to achieve it, but within 12 months. And so for the last 2 years, I've been living the perfect day. Get up in the morning, drink some water, exercise, live to my purpose, multiple businesses, relax in the evening, go to sleep. Perfect day. And that I absolutely love, and I'm massively grateful for that, of course. And obviously we're working towards that perfect year. But the point is, those are our personal goals. Our bigger mission is to bring joy, knowledge, inspire, create, and to do more and help more. And I want people not to have to go through the health and the financial and all the other crises, relationship and all the other crises that I went through, because there are strategies that if you learn them young enough, you would never go through any of that stuff. and we would have a happier, healthier, wealthier generation.
Society. That's what I'm saying. Children are our future. They're the ones that.
I'm sure there was a song about that, Pash.
Yeah, there was. Okay. Okay, sorry. Soul Queen is like, thinking of Michael here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But that is true. I mean, it really is. And if we can start the seed of inspiration at a really young age, I see so many youth across the world. They're just, mental health issues at the moment and trying to fit in, and drugs and alcohol is at its all-time high across the globe.
Wow.
With an age group that is as young as my youngest and as old as my eldest. 12 to 17. And I look at mine and I think, thank God that you have an Indian mom. I'm joking. But it's they have that kind of family and everything, but those poor kids who don't understand that they're worthy, that they are something, they are important. People like you can come along, teachers can come along to really give them back their hope, which is so important.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, the book is, there was some fun times in there, and of course, I'm never going to deny that. But there was also some very, very, very challenging times when it all caught me up. And there's some strategies that if you start to feel, and the strategies, by the way, are strategies that are open to absolutely any human being. You just need to make a decision to go for it. But, when you get to that point of, I went to rock bottom, I could have gone and jumped off a bridge or dust myself off, thankfully, and go again. And for me, that choice, that decision to say, no, I'm better than this and I must go again. And Bob Proctor said, your way isn't working, try mine. And I just went, yep. Okay, he's right. My way hasn't worked, so let's try a different way. And that was based on Think and Grow Rich and You Can Heal Your Life and The Way of a Superior Man and all these amazing books. And all I've done is read them and then use that information. But it's open to anybody. And all I've done is put it into Life Remixed and gone to them. And I want to reach people and go, look, guys, just please read this book, because you will find a way away from addictions. You will find a way away from an unhappy, sick and broke kind of life. And you can uplift yourself to a really, beautiful place where you will be happy, healthy and wealthy. So that's the premise. And I know you have a very similar mission. So that's really important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, we've chatted about tough times, you must have been through some challenges around for your life. Is there anything you would like to share? You're comfortable sharing?
Life does have their ups and downs, and it's really how you manage them, which is important. And I've learned with age to manage it much, much more with grace and to be much more, grateful for the lessons. I've been through a very, very rough childhood. I mean, I'm not a rags to riches story. I grew up in a very wealthy family, but my biological father wasn't very there or very, connected to us. And it was all based around his fear of always wanting to provide and provide and provide and provide. I mean, he provided us with the best schools, in Hong Kong. We went to private schools. We had everything like the Kardashians, but it was, and there was three of us girls and my mom, and we had this, we were like the Kardashians. We were also very women of the world. We wanted to be able to create businesses. We wanted to be able to go out there and meet different people. But something about my father was that he was stuck in some kind of old paradigm. I realize that now.
Yeah.
I did never realize that before, because it's so easy to blame people, but I realized he was coming from a place that was so old school, where his only mission in life was to provide. And if he didn't, he was a failure. Yeah. And that was all that was stuck in his mind. And it didn't matter how much my mother adored him or loved him, or we gave him, love and respect. He just had this weird sense of how he should be. And it was all based around money. So sometimes I grew up with a very careless understanding of money. Which got me in trouble, because when you have it and you don't know what to do with it and you use it in a very stupid way, you end up becoming a dingbat, right? In whatever you're doing. I mean, for lack of a better word, without abusing myself too much.
Well, I heard a great story that money makes you more of what you already are. So if you're really, really skilled and really, really, focused, and you can be hugely skilled and hugely focused and do some amazing things. However, if you're financially uneducated and perhaps you're young and free and a bit, out there and all that kind of stuff, you can be more of that.
Yeah. So I decided to shift my life around, and I said to him, I'd like to get an education abroad. I actually got accepted to New York University, which was one of my first top choices for communications and theater and film and all that. But he wouldn't let me go because he was stuck in this paradigm of you're an Indian girl and you stay here and that's it. And I kind of, what do you say, prayer, manifestation, shifting, understanding. I kind of convinced him in his own way, in my own way, to let me go abroad. Because in his vision, I should have been married. I should be close to home. I should be in the kitchen all the time.
You're shooting all over yourself there.
I love it. You're shooting all over yourself. You're brilliant. You see, that's why I like you. You're really, really good. That's excellent, mate. Really, really spot on. Love it.
But no, you should, right? I mean,
So he was shooting on me, the whole time. And I realized I couldn't should. I have to be me. So I had to actually kind of beg him to go to university, like, please. And I would kind of repay it in a way, like getting good grades or go get a good job and pay it back somehow, even though I didn't actually need to. It was just something that I needed to say to go. And that was the seed of me really exploring how to be a global citizen. I left home at 17.
Wow.
With my poor mom crying at the front of my dorm. She had to sign a form because I was a minor in the United States.
Yeah.
So she had to sign me off to like the international leader at the center over there. And I was just
to allow you to leave. Yeah. But freedom for you, you're like, come on.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. You talk about your dad there as well, because the very masculine, old school, way of thinking is that I must provide. And, in many ways, what he provided for you was a great education and a great opportunity and everything else. But what he didn't provide for you for what you said is that he didn't provide you with enough love and enough attention as in that sort of feminine kind of like love as opposed to the masculine love. He thought he was loving you by doing all this great stuff for you. Yeah. And he just, we're going to be talking to a relationship expert coming up in the next couple of weeks, which is excellent. And my understanding of masculine and feminine in relationships has just exploded in my mind in the last 10 years to actually understand the masculine side of myself, but also the feminine side of myself, right. And actually able to understand that masculine needs freedom and feminine needs fullness. And as long as you don't make an issue of those two things in a relationship, and so I understand that my wife needs fullness, so lots of stuff around the house and lovely things you can look at, and I need freedom, and that's why I'm not feeling or if we're struggling a little bit with this kind of, because I need my freedom. I need to be out. I need to be seeing people and doing things. I haven't got that freedom. And in you, the feminine side of yourself, of course, is your beautiful family and your husband and all that wonderful fullness you feel there. And your masculine side of yourself is actually jumping on a plane and going to talk to people. Yeah. It's a lovely breakdown when you start to understand the play within yourself and then with other people.
I mean, like I spoken to a lot of healers and stuff because he's my dad at the end of the day. He didn't speak to me for 20 years. We were estranged because I married completely the opposite human being to him in race, culture, understanding.
That would challenge him.
Looks. He was like, "What? I sent you to college for this?" I'm like,
again, that's his expectation, right? If you just live in a place of acceptance, like love. To me, the definition of love for me, and I've thought long and hard on this. The definition of love for me is total acceptance.
Yes.
Because when you live in total acceptance, and by the way, start with yourself, look at yourself. I never used to accept this body and this face and this. I was like, I'm not this. I used to think all the things I wasn't. And actually now I just think of all the things I am, and I am total acceptance. I love every human being. Before I go to sleep at night, I just send this little message in my mind going, I just love you all. I accept you all. Humanity, I just accept. We're not perfect. We make lots of mistakes, clearly. But as long as within me, I live in that place of total acceptance, it's a beautiful place to live, because then I don't expect, having a daughter, and then I don't have children, but of course, but having a daughter and then expecting her that she will do this, and this, and this, it's not the right way to live, because
it's the perfect way to create a rebel and a renegade.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because then you'll just be like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to do it my way, and I'll just do something completely different. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
And my stepdad now, he's been in my life since I was like 4 or 5. And he's just been around a lot, because he was really a friend to my mom. So I saw both sides of how men could operate, like how there was really the feminine and the masculine. My stepdad is a beautiful interior designer who's totally artsy and out of the box, and talks to me about spirituality, and he does yoga. He's 70 years old, stands on his head. He's my dad. Yeah. He really is, because he's always been there. So the universe allowing me to see both sides to a story has also been a blessing in my life.
Of course.
And the man that I married is such a beautiful combination of both. No. And when he met me, I was very, like, always seeking for that kind of, like, how they call, like, daddy issues. And he's my best friend. I've met him since when I was 16, my husband. So he was like, always like, come on, like, be a little bit more, like, challenging a bit. So as we've grown and I, we've been married and had kids, and I challenge him a little bit, he just giggles a lot now, because he's just like, okay, here she goes. So, but he just gives me that sense of, I can be masculine if I need to, like, in a way that, is important for me to be able to express that. And and because of who he is, and he's grown up in a household of so many women, like 6 sisters, he really understands that, how to, and he has me and his 2 daughters, how to be that very beautiful, loving man who puts women on a pedestal. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah. The true masculine man. I had to learn this in a different way. I failed in many relationships, unfortunately. But what I did was I learned from them slowly but surely. And then I read The Way of the Superior Man. And he says in there, it's a book about, it's not, the title puts some people off, but it's not about being a superior man as in I'm better than you. It's about being, rather than being a mediocre man yourself, is actually being a superior man, improving yourself to be someone who can be in the world and actually, like, learn how to be masculine, but authentically masculine. And it's really interesting. And he says in there, one of the most important things in your life is that you need to understand that around the feminine is that everything in your life is a test or a celebration. And there are no gray areas. You can never escape it. And he says every feminine woman has a temperature, so she can either be very, very intense, or she can be very, very, mellow and calm. And everyone's different, of course. We're all unique on the planet. But just understanding that test celebration, what I could do was I could look back at my life and go, oh, look at all the times I failed the test. I failed. She was testing me and I blew it. And I look back on it now, and sometimes I think, oh God, But what I really do is I don't carry emotional attachments anymore. I can actually look back on my life with the book and everything else with a real kind of love and through a different perspective. But I use that in my current relationship and my current family and everything else. All the people around me, all businesses, everything else. I understand the test versus celebration kind of metaphor really, really well. So when I'm being tested, I know that I'm being tested. And when we all get to celebrate, and when I celebrate with my wife, I get that as well. And so understanding that makes me, I believe, a better man. And it sounds like your husband didn't need to read a book to learn it. So that's great.
Well, he had enough lessons with so many women in the house. He gets scared. He's just like, okay.
So we're getting near the end now, but let's just ask a quick question, a couple of more questions. So the best advice you can offer for someone looking to remix or improve their own life, what would be your sort of go-to strategy? I know mine, but what would be your go-to sort of number one, do you think?
Two that I have that I live by every day. Follow your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Don't ever let go of that. Even if it, that feeling, believe it, please, because it can save a life, actually. Mm-hmm. And self-care. If you do not care for yourself, you cannot care for other people. You cannot give from an empty vessel, ever.
I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, ultimately, you can't give what you haven't got.
Exactly.
Many people go to a relationship to get someone to love them because they don't love themselves.
Yeah.
When actually, you're like, if you do that, you'll attract someone else who's the same. And then you're like two starving people trying to take each other's food. It doesn't work, and many people do. That's why relationships break up. That's why things go bad. Ultimately, if you go to a relationship, first of all, you work on you to fill yourself up full of love, and just to be, and money and everything. Just fill yourself up with all good things, and then be a place to give that to somebody else. That is life-changing.
Yeah.
And if more people understood that, Pash, we'd be in a happier world,
Let's start with the young kids. Let's get them to understand that.
I hope that this, actually, I expect that this book is going to help some people, and that would be beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, the one strategy for me is gratitude. That was my go-to. Someone said to me, you need an attitude of gratitude. I think that came from The Secret. And Bob Proctor sort of, rammed it home with me. And I was bankrupt, sleeping in my mum's spare little box room at 38 years of age after a 20-year DJ career. And I just, first of all, I was sleeping there going, what the hell just happened to me? I had 20 years of an international career, and now I'm living in my mum's box room going, this is not right. But at the same time, thankfully, dusted myself off. But I used gratitude. I got grateful for the fact that my mother had that box room. I got grateful for the fact that I had a welfare check from the government to be able to go and buy food and eat. I got grateful for that period, probably about 6 to 8 months. I got grateful for that period there where I had the time just to breathe,
relax.
Just to, I went out for a run and I ended up running a marathon, but I had this time of just recharge, if you like, recharge, reset, go again, but go again with a completely different attitude. And
How long did it take you?
What do you mean?
To get out of it?
It's been 10 to 12 years since then.
Wow.
And how long did it take me to get out of it? It's really interesting. I mean, it happened really quickly, but the last 10 to 12 years have happened really quickly as well. So I literally, once I just started changing my life to become grateful and happy and in a good place, life just got so much more simple. It just got so much easier. Rather than having all this like negative fear, doubt, worry, what are other people thinking about me? A great one, what anyone else thinks of you is none of your business. That just took away lots of stuff. And I was like, oh, what should I think about now then? So taking that away, it gave me loads of time, and it gave me loads of creativity and loads of like, actually, you know what I'll do? I'll go and do an exam. I found myself at 39, 40 years of age doing exams in construction and health and safety and all this other stuff. And I got into myself and my own psychology, and I studied me. I studied me massively. I became like a sponge to information, and then trying things out. I had nothing to lose, by the way. I had no money. I had no relationship. It was just me, my mum, and my brother, and that was it. But the point is that it took as long as it took. I mean, the story's documented in the book, but literally, I did my exam. I did an exam in construction. Within 3 months, I had a job offer at the Olympics back in 2011, 2012 here in London. I became the health and safety manager of the Olympic Stadium within 4 days of being on the job. I mean, it's in the book. I just attracted this entire path to here.
Yeah.
Just like boom, 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 and all of a sudden here I am. By the way, following some great mentors in Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Kevin Green here in the UK. Just following these guys and understanding their strategies to become the better version of me, and to allow myself to release this book and hopefully, I expect to help some people. How long did it take? I don't know. It's a constant journey. I mean, it will take. Pardon?
It is, right. I mean, like, you can say bankrupt, like, you know, you had 10 pounds in your wallet, let's say, so you had, you know, whatever. But how, you know, when did you have like 50 pounds, and when did that 50 become 500? There's never like a sequence of how the abundance started to roll. That's why people say, like, they see you sometimes as an overnight success, but it's not like that, right? I mean, you had to work, you know, I love what you said. That's such a great question, because you can't actually say it took me 1 week, or it took me 5 years, or it took me overnight. I slept and, you know, a mosquito bit me and I was okay. You know, I mean, it's not like that at all.
It was about goal setting.
Yeah.
So I remember doing on an online course with Bob Proctor, and he said, set a goal that's so big that it makes you go, oh, like, gosh, God. You know. And I set a goal that was, I said, right, I'm going to earn £100,000 a year, and I'd never done that, but I'm going to earn 100 grand a year. I'd never done that as a DJ. I'd made a living, but never, you know, £100,000 a year. So I broke that down into £8,400 a month. Well, actually, I broke it down to £400 a day, £2,000 a week, £8,400 a month, which is £104,000 a year. And so I just had to go back to, I have to earn £400 every day. Right. Okay. So how am I going to do that? Right. Okay. So and then I just looked out, and a friend of mine was living in Phuket in Thailand. He was doing health and safety on the rigs, and he was earning £400 a day. And I said, right, how did you do that? And I went and did a couple of exams. I never ended up on oil rigs, but I ended up doing similar at the Olympics here in London, for Heathrow Airport, for a large construction company. For, you know, boom, boom, boom. Within 3 years, I was earning £100,000 a year. So that, you know, but I set that goal, and I just kept, and then the universe just gave me all these opportunities, and I just became aware. Once I set the goal, I had this awareness of, okay, so, you're already doing that. Oh, yeah. So I just need to copy you then. And all I've done is I've copied Bob, I've copied Tony, and now Kevin Green here in the UK. Kevin's a multimillionaire, and I'm copying Kevin. I'm literally copying Kevin. We're doing property deals. We're going for this in a big way. And over the course of the next 5 years, that perfect year that I spoke to you about, online businesses, properties, we're then free. We're free to do whatever we. Well, our goal is what we like, when we like, with who we like.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, and that's it. I'd say I'm 80% there, maybe 90% there. You know,
wow.
And awesome. Yeah, and thank you. And that's it. What we like, when we like, with who we like. And
I love that.
We're on it. So it's been amazing. The time's just flown. What a great interview. And thank you for being here, Pash, and just bringing out the best in me. And I hope sharing so much of your own stories as well. But where can people find you? Website, social media? Remind us of the book titles again, please.
Okay, so I have it here. I have my books over here. This one is the Cappuccino Chronicles. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, hold it down a bit. Yeah, there we go. We can see that. Yeah. Move it in front of you. Okay. There it is. Yes. Yeah.
And it's published by Hasmark Publishing, who's both of our publishers. You can find me at Pashmina at hasmarkpublishing.com as the marketing director. You can find me, Pashmina Pash, on my Facebook. You can find me at Cappuccino Chronicles International Bestseller on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. My Instagram is Pash_Cappuccino_Chronicles, and my LinkedIn is Pashmina Pash.
And you are worth getting to know, because you're a very, very interesting lady.
Mark, thank you.
No, seriously. I mean, you know, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure working with you. It's a pleasure being around you. And you know, I love the fact you shared that goal about the theatre in Hong Kong. That's amazing. I'm looking forward to the time when Emma and I can land again in Thailand and get to meet with you and your family.
Oh, we can't wait. We can't wait, Mark. And thank you so much. It's really a privilege to know you too. I mean, that's the thing. When I read your book, I was like, he was a DJ Ministry of Sound. I need to know him. I manifested.
And here we are. I mean, you know, the book, as I say, the book is what it is. it's a redemption story ultimately.
I love it.
You know, it's I identify a lot with the Shawshank Redemption, and swimming through the river of shit, which was generally my kind of like my negative thoughts, but swimming through that and coming out the other side and being like, oh, actually, okay, I'm a better person now. And Andy Dufresne does end up living on a beach, doesn't he? So
yeah, exactly. So not too far away.
Exactly.
But thank you so much. Thank you for giving me time as well to spend such precious book time with you, you know, and for taking me on the journey with you, because, you know, it goes both ways. I learned from you as well. And, you know, it's a privilege. And I love your wife. She's amazing. And I just can't wait to meet both of you. It's just going to be so wonderful. It really is.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks for joining us here on Straight Talking. Yes, many more episodes to come. Do stay tuned. But once again, thank you, Pashmina, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Mark.